Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about using a gun for self-defense in a ambush type of situation where you got no preparation, no indication that you're about to be attacked. And the important thing for us to consider is how are we going to use our gun for self-defense and not shoot innocent bystanders. Okay, so that's basically what this video is about. How to defend yourself in an ambush and not shoot innocent bystanders, because if you have a situation where you get escalation, right, where you start off with, let's say, a conversation which goes into yelling, maybe goes to hands, then maybe goes into a weapon. While that's happening, you get a chance to look around and see what's going on, who the people are. um, if you got like one person that's arguing with you over here or yelling at you, and then you got one person over there that's like observing, but you can kind of tell that they're together. You might get an indication, okay, that these two guys are together, so you got to watch that guy as well. Okay, but in an ambush situation where, let's say, you just go into the bathroom and you just get attacked, or let's say you come around the corner, you get attacked, you get no preparation, you got no idea even how many people are attacking you, and if there's any other people further away, if they're part of this group that's attacking you, or if they've got nothing to do with this group that's attacking you, you're not going to know any of that. Okay, all you know is that you are being hit, and you need to, you've assessed that they're trying to kill you, and you're going to use your gun for self-defense. But we got to use a technique where we're not going to shoot innocent people. Okay, so the technique that I recommend, okay, and the technique that I practice, is when I shoot, I basically angle the gun down. Okay, so I'm shooting from a high position to a low position, and basically the bullets end up about 3 or 4 feet, away from me in the ground. So regardless of where my bullets hit the target, miss the target, go through the target, I know where they're going to end up. They're going to end up 3 to 4 feet in the ground over there. Okay. So, and here's the thing. Obviously, I'm not going to my iron sights. I can't do that. I'm being attacked. The two positions that I usually practice are one where I'm blocking. Right. I'm being hit up here. I'm using this arm to block. So this hand's going to come up. I'm using my body over here to point, to orient the gun. I'm also using my finger, right? Because the finger doesn't go on the trigger until you're ready to shoot. So when the gun comes out of the holster, finger goes, points in the direction that you want to shoot, and you take your shot. Okay? I'll back up a little bit so you guys can see the bullets hit. All right. So I'm here. Let's say somebody's over here. I come up over the top, point my finger in the direction I want to shoot. Okay. Right, and I'm able to. So again, the bullets are going right there. Right. I'm here. Okay. So the technique is I'm pointing my finger. Obviously I'm not going to my iron sights. I can still pretty much get the bullets to go where I want them to go. Okay. But that's the technique. You shoot from a high position to a low position. We're targeting basically the lower gut and the hip area. Nobody can stand on a broken hip. And I'm able to stop the threat and not shoot innocent bystanders, because if I come out and go to full extension, first of all, I may not be able to go to full extension if somebody's on top of me hitting me. But let's say I was able to create some space, right? So let's say I'm here, I push off, I come out here, I go to full extension, regardless of where my bullets hit them or go through them or I miss, they're going to keep going after that, right? So, and I don't know where they're going to end up. The only way I know where the bullets are going to end up is if I point the gun down and I know that they're going into the dirt, like right there. That's the only way I can know for sure where they're going if I haven't had a chance to, to scan the area. So I have a couple of targets here, and basically we're doing a scenario here where I've got 3 people attacking me. That target over there is going to be the immediate threat. That guy over there is the backup. Okay, and then I got this guy over here as the lookout. Okay, now as I'm shooting these steel targets, I'm using a 22. 22 is a great training round because with a 22, I'm less concerned with splashback. I don't want the bullets coming back and hitting me. But the other thing I'm going to do is when I'm shooting at these targets, I'm shooting at an angle so that the splashback basically goes into the dirt wall over there. So that's the other thing that I'm incorporating into this practice as a safety feature. Okay, so let's try this exercise. Okay, so in that situation, what I did is I came out, point shot the target. Then I turned around, I saw that I had the guy with the knife over there. And what I did is I closed the distance on him, okay? I closed the distance on him. Now, so for me to shoot him, you know, obviously he must have been coming towards me as well. The reason why I closed distance is because I want to change the angle to make sure my bullets are going in. Because if I'm shooting from here, right? If I'm shooting from here, the angle is going to be like this. Whereas if I get closer, now it's a more sharper downward angle. So by closing the distance, I want my downward angle to be sharper. And then what I did is I turned around. I recognized that as a threat. Presumably he had a gun, okay? And what I did is, because this target was further and smaller, I took a well-aimed shot. I went to my iron sights and I took a well-aimed shot to hit the target. But while I was, you know, so I went a little bit slower, and I had a chance to also see what was behind the target. Okay, so in that case, perhaps I saw that there was a wall over there. Okay, so these are all things that you want to consider. Let's try this again. We'll do a tactical reload here. It's the bad thing with these 22s; you don't hold a whole lot in the magazine. Only holds 10 rounds. Okay, so same deal. So, different scenario there. Point shot that target, right? Had no time to assess what was behind it, okay? So I basically shot from a high position to a low position into the stomach, hip area, okay? Now, I've only got 10-round magazines in this gun because that's all these Ruger SR22s hold. So I'm being a little bit conservative with the ammunition. If I had, let's say, a Glock 17, I probably would have shot 3 rounds. How many rounds you shoot to stop the threat, okay? Whatever it takes to stop the threat. But in this scenario, I got a limited magazine, so I'm using a limited number of bullets. Shot that target from a high position to, actually it was more like this, high position to a low position. What I did with that one is I closed because I wanted to get, by getting closer, I know that my angle is going to be more steeper downwards. Now, if he's got a knife, obviously you can close, now if he's got a knife and he's running away, you can't shoot him. If he's got a gun, one of the things that you can do is circle, right? Right? You can circle too, because it's, in that type of a situation, it's hard for somebody to track you. If you're going in a straight line, or if you're stationary, it's, basically you're an easier target. If you're moving, you're a harder target. Now with this guy over here, what I did is I changed my angle, okay? So here I assessed that, hey, I don't want to be shooting that way, right? So what I did is I came around over here and I shot from here because I assessed that that is a safer direction. That's where, there's a wall there. There's nobody over there. I want my bullets to end up over there. So I was able to kind of make the determination with this guy and maybe that guy, but I couldn't make it with that guy. So with that guy, you shoot from a high position to a low position, and it could be, like I said, if you're being hit, it'll be like this. Okay, so that time, I determined that there was no additional threats. I reholstered. Now, the reholstering part's important because what's going to happen is if other people that may be at a distance or might pick up on this, they don't know who the bad guy is. So if they see one guy bleeding on the ground over there and you holding a gun, they might think that you're the bad guy, and they may start shooting you if they see you holding a gun and there's a guy laying on the ground over there. So The second you determine that there's no additional threats, gun got to get back in the holster and cover it up, okay? That's a really important survival thing, right? You've got to get that gun back in the holster, get it out of sight, so that you don't look like a bad guy, because other people that are not involved with this, they don't know what's going on. They don't know who's who, okay? So that's a technique, I recommend you guys practice. Practice shooting from a high position to a low position, whether it's up here like this or here like this, okay? Like here I'm using the gun, I'm using the grip of the gun on my body, because I can shoot the gun like this, right? You see that? I got a good sense of where this gun is pointed, okay? I got a good sense of where this gun's, I'm using my body to aim the gun, okay? So you don't want to put the slide against your body, because that's going to jam up the gun. That's why you put the grip up against your body. Up here, usually I point the slide towards my head. So from there, I'm in a position to go to my iron sights. So from here I can take that shot, right? And then from there, scan. Okay, and then, if I needed to go to my iron sights, I can get to my iron sights. Now, when you do the scan, you want to hold it again, because you don't know who's who. Bring the gun in tight, do a quick scan, get the gun in the holster. A lot of times people question the usefulness of doing that scan. Part of the reason that, there's two reasons for doing the scan. The obvious reason is you're looking for additional threats, but the other important reason is that you will need to break tunnel vision, okay? Because if you just shot a guy in self-defense, what happens a lot of times, people they freeze. So let's say that guy just threatened me and I shot him, okay? Picture this. Stop, get back in. I froze. So everybody else looking, what do they see? They see me there hanging with a gun like this. I did not get to the next part, which was get the gun back in the holster as fast as possible, okay? So the scan and assess, for me, is a really important way to break the tunnel vision and basically kickstart your brain to start thinking about what you're going to do next, okay? Get the gun in the holster, and now one of the ways I've heard this described is you always want to have a job, okay? So don't sit there basically just, with an empty head. Think what you got to do next. Get the gun in the holster. Start looking around. Start figuring out who's who, right? Hands nowhere on the gun. Start looking around at the evidence, okay? Knife, gun, where is it? There. Make sure it stays there. Make sure nobody comes along and takes it, right? That's a nice little trinket there, So make sure that the evidence stays put. Take a look at your shell cases. Where are your shell cases? Where they land? Is there wind? Are they going to start blowing all over the place? Because again, this is all evidence that's going to be looked at. Look at the witnesses. Eyeball them. Ideally, you don't want them to go away. If obviously you can't stop them, chances are they're going to be running away. But if anybody's hanging around, keep an eye on them, so when the police come, you can say that there's a witness over there and that person was here. All you tell the police is, hey, you have to use the gun for self-defense. The person tried to kill you. There's the weapon. Here's some shell cases. So this is the approximate. The purpose, the point of the shell case is it signifies the distance. Okay. Now you can have the wind that's blowing them all over the place. In which case that again, that's something that you have to point out. How they end up all the way down there? Well, it's really windy today. So these are all things you have to point out. So and these are things you can be. Next thing, always gotta have a job. Get on the phone with your lawyer. Very important, a prepaid legal service. Okay, I talked about this in other videos. You want to have a lawyer on call. I use U.S. Lawshield. Let me get this into focus. So basically, this is a legal service. Basically, it's a lawyer on call. It only cost me, I think it was like $40 up front, and then I think it's like $10 a month. With some add-ons, maybe it'll go up to $15. There's their website. There's their phone number, and there's a promo code for you guys. Pocono Shooting promo code. It will get you some type of a discount. I don't know what it is offhand, but maybe it's an extra month or two. I don't know what it is, but that promo code will get you some type of a discount. So do some research. It doesn't have to be this one. It could be a different one, but you got to have a prepaid legal service that as soon as something like this happens, and you can assess that it's safe to go to your phone, get on the phone with the lawyer, tell them you just had a self-defense incident. So when the police arrive, you just get them on the phone immediately. You tell them, listen, I got my lawyer on the phone. Basically I had to use my gun in self-defense. There's the evidence. There's the witnesses. Here's my lawyer on the phone. Okay, you got to have that ready. One of the things I also recommend to people is because this company, they send you a card. Okay, what you do is either make a copy of the card and put it, let's say, in an envelope, and put that, let's say, in your desk or something, along with some money. Okay, so if something like this happens, because a lot of times if they just come on site and arrest you, they're gonna probably take your cell phone. Okay, and you're only going to remember one number. It's probably going to be your wife's or your mother's. So you got to be able to tell them to make that phone call and tell your wife or your mother to go to the desk, get the envelope, and there's the phone number to the prepaid lawyer. And then that can move forward from there, because the last thing you want to be doing is calling up your wife or your mother and saying, hey, listen, I got a lawyer, but I don't know what the number is, and they took my wallet, and they got my cell phone, and I have no way. It's going to become a real mess. So you want somebody else that's close to you to have this information, have the number to the prepaid lawyer, especially if now part of the reason why I'm doing this video is actually the main reason I'm doing this video. So I've done many videos like this before. The main reason I'm doing this mostly for New York, New Jersey, Maryland, California, Illinois, Washington State, basically all the states that just got back their right to bear arms, right? Because Supreme Court came up with this decision where it is now, basically they have to give you a carry permit. It might take 2 years before, it might take 6 months to 2 years before this gets worked out in the courts and they issue you that carry permit, but it's coming, okay? Start the application process now. Because if they deny you, you might be part of a class action suit against the state for delaying it or denying you, so you can actually make some money on this. So start that application process now. Eventually, you're going to get it, okay? But here's the thing. If you're in those states, right, you're going to be carrying a gun in a state that's hostile to you. And I don't mean I'm talking about the government. You're carrying in a state where the government is hostile to you for asserting your gun rights. And that's the main reason why I carry a gun. I live in a very low crime area. The reason why I carry a gun every day is to assert my right to bear arms. Okay? And that's the main reason why I think you should carry a firearm as well, even if you live in a low crime area. You got to assert that right, otherwise they're going to take it away from you. Okay. So if you live in any of these states, and especially if you get caught up in a self-defense type of situation, or even caught up in a traffic stop or something, right? They're gonna target you, right? The state is gonna be your biggest enemy. So you need a lawyer that specializes in this stuff, that can basically keep you up to date in what the law in your state is, because they're gonna start passing laws back and forth, restricted in this area, not restricted there. You can carry these guns, you can't carry those guns. So they're going to keep throwing all these roadblocks over there, and they're going to keep coming up with ways to trip you up, so that if you accidentally break one of these laws, they're going to prosecute you, and they're going to try and hit you with a conviction where now you're not able to carry a gun anymore, or even own a gun. Okay, so this is one of those things where you really got to stay on top of. And this legal service that I use, where is it again? U.S. Lawshield. What they do is they put out videos. They're going to start putting out videos for those states where every time they change the law or something, you're going to get that information, and you're going to just watch these regular videos, and that's just something that you got to do on a regular basis. Okay, again, there's that promo code. I'll get you some type of a discount for U.S. Lawshield. And there's others out there. You can research the others. I'm not just trying to push these guys. It's just this is the one I have a discount code for. If I had other discount codes, I'd be giving you those as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give me some feedback. If there's any other things that you guys are particularly interested in, let me know in the comments, and I'll start thinking about it, and maybe I'll do a video on that as well. Make sure you guys are following me on the uncensored platforms, on Odyssey, on Pocono Tactical. That's my name over there. On Rumble, I'm Pocono Guns. And then on YouTube, my backup channels are, I got 3 channels. I got Pocono Shooting. I've got Pocono Shooting, Absolute Gun Rights. And then I got the original channel, Safa, which goes back to 2006, okay? And I did a prior video where I spoke to you guys about things that you have to consider as far as at what point to get a carry. One of the things I said, you gotta put the application in immediately, start that process. Before you even buy a gun, get training, okay? First, learn to use a gun just on a 2-dimensional range, learn to handle a gun. And then from there, immediately get someplace where you can do 3D training, 3-dimensional training, where you can shoot in different directions, move and shoot, because that's realistic training. When you're talking about, there's a difference between target shooting and using a gun for self-defense. When we're talking about using a gun for self-defense, we're talking about the martial art of using a gun. Okay, this is a martial art that we're talking about. And that's what you're getting in. Just like with any martial art, you got to practice on a regular basis to be any good at it, right? The same thing with using a gun for fighting, because this is about fighting, right? When you're talking about self-defense, it's not shooting, it's fighting. And one of the things to understand with self-defense, the situation, especially in an escalation type of situation, right? It can start from talking to yelling and screaming to hands to a weapon, maybe back to hands. Okay, so it can transition back and forth from hands to weapon to hands, depending if somebody grabs the weapon's dropped, so you have to be able to use your hands, use the gun, go back to your hands, go back to a weapon, use other weapons as well, be able to use a knife, a baton, all these things. So this isn't about shooting, this is about fighting, and the gun is just one of the tools for fighting to save your life. Okay, so that's the way to think about this. Think of this as a martial art, not as just shooting. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you all soon.